Welcome to Funhaus, everybody. This week's episode is brought to you by Hims. I'll tell you a little bit more about a sweet offer they have for you later on in the show. But my name is Daniel. I got my buds Bruce, Adam, and Jacob with me today.
Jacob's never on the show.
But,
for good reason.
No, you're great, Jacob. Everybody loves baby Jacob.
I love Jacob, too. For the record, he is wearing a Destiny 2 shirt with his gamer tag on his sleeve.
Oh, no. I was totally thinking in my head I was going to sit as far left as I could, but I forgot, so nobody would see it.
Oh, I think you're worried about people adding you on there.
Oh, no.
Because you're so popular.
Do you have shirts that aren't Destiny or Funhaus?
Yeah, definitely.
I've never
totally.
seen them. I don't
know.
Nope.
I don't
never
know.
seen them.
Man, it might surprise you guys tomorrow. We'll see.
With the Destiny shirt?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's got my old gamer tag on it. It's my alt account.
So welcome to the show about Jacob's T-shirts.
What up?
But no, we're actually here to talk about Netflix Castlevania, which had its second season come out a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So some people are calling this show the greatest video game adaptation of all time.
Wow. Who's calling it that?
People who didn't see Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Annihilation.
There's not really tough competition in that regard, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Everybody forgets about Doom. Gotta forget about Doom.
yeah, it still feels like the one walnut that has yet to be cracked.
Yeah.
The good video game adaptation from anything other than a video game.
Yeah, and it's still like from a streaming service. It's not like a
It's not a
huge,
movie.
It's not
like
a
an
blockbuster
in-theaters movie. Yeah.
$200 million movie.
I mean, the last Tomb Raider movie wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good.
Yeah,
It was okay.
It was, shades of okay. But once again, Tomb Raider is just ripping off a movie franchise anyway, so who cares?
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it, so I actually might agree with those people. It a lull kind of in the middle after the very beginning, and it's a bit of a slow burn. But when it hits that climax, boy oh boy, I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing in one night.
You burned through it in one night?
So I watched the first 4 episodes of season 1 kind of over the span of a couple of nights, but then this other one I burned through it in one night. And it took 4 hours, 3.5 hours about?
A little less than 4, I think.
It's like a little mini movie, I guess you can say.
It goes fast, except for like the lull that Dan just talked about, which I already knew, but pretty much every anime you're going to watch is going to have a lull.
Yeah.
And it's because they're trying to save money on the cool action they're going to show you later.
Where there's evidently a lot of money spent and all the animation that's happening in those final scenes.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
It begs the question, though, because the first season was 3 episodes, I believe.
4
episodes,
Yeah.
and it's sort of a proof of concept.
Yeah.
And it worked, and I think most people watch it. The first episode is fantastic. I think that's one of the greatest animated pilots I've seen.
That's awesome.
Especially for an adaptation where they made Dracula a very that's bad.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Sorry,
you saw Kevin Spacey.
Why was that Kevin Spacey?
I thought they made Dracula an empathetic character.
Yeah.
Which has stayed true throughout the episode. Throughout the series.
Show.
Yeah.
That's the best kind of villain.
I think that was a little surprising, honestly, that Dracula was really the main character, I guess, even though he spent a lot of his time kind of sad and brooding.
It is sort of a hard twist, not a twist, but a sort of turn they make, because we, as people who have played or at least know about Castlevania, always know Dracula as the villain.
The bad guy.
And Belmonts are good guys, whether you're Trevor, Simon, or Alucard in Symphony of the Night or whatever. I don't think you even have to be that big of a Castlevania fan to know just the basic story.
Yeah,
not at all.
Because the story is so basic.
Yeah, at some point you've heard the term Metroidvania. You know, it's sort of like it's become its own. Castlevania is bigger than itself in some weird ways, but to hit you right away and say Dracula's sort of the main character, and you're going to feel things for him, and then halfway through those 4 episodes ago, and here's Trevor Belmont. Is Trevor, right? No.
Yeah.
Trevor Belmont.
Trevor,
yeah. And now we're following him, and now we're going to show you Alucard, and now they're like, let's kill Dracula, and you go, wait, what? But I like Dracula. Even though he's trying to kill everyone, I'm sort of rooting for him.
Yeah,
well, he's tragic. It's sad what happened to him. And he's kind of lashing out. He's like broken from his woman dying.
I side with Dracula. I think he has every... Though I was frustrated in that first season, in a good way.
Yeah.
Where the townspeople are killing his wife, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, live-in girlfriend.
It was wife.
I think it's his wife, yeah.
They got married, I think.
I was like the cast that they got to play all the characters, and the guy who they got to play that main priest.
Yeah, he was great.
who talks like this.
Yeah. That's exactly what he's talking about.
Turn up the volume every time he talks.
It's so perfectly anime, but
Yeah.
it's a well cast show, and it's well written, and it's well produced in a way that I'm like physically angry at the characters for what they're doing. Like, and you're just so frustrated for this character where they're calling her a witch, and she's most certainly not a witch.
No, she's just a doctor.
She was literally just a doctor.
Yeah.
However, Adam, I feel exactly the opposite. I did never sided with Dracula.
What?
And I appreciated that the show at least tried to get me to side with Dracula. I got it. I understood. But then also Dracula was like, I'm going to kill literally everybody. And I was like, if this show, because I was halfway through the show, I was like, if this motherfucking show doesn't kill off motherfucking Dracula because Dracula feels bad about his wife getting killed, I'm gonna fucking blow my brains out. It turns out, no, that's not what happens. Thankfully, yes, the good guys do win in the end. Spoiler alert. But at the same time, so like I appreciate that the show is trying to get me to side with Dracula, but guys, Dracula's fucking crazy. He's crazy. He wants to kill everybody in the world.
Everybody.
But that's not a good thing.
But had he not murdered the love of his life,
Yeah,
That doesn't matter. That's one person for a million.
he was trying to bring humans into the age of enlightenment.
Yeah.
But also-
so she changed him, right? He hated humans. He
Yes.
hated people, and she came along and kind of changed his idea
But that is no
of what
excuse for
humans are.
Dracula to kill millions of people.
You heard it here. Dracula did nothing wrong.
Yeah, right.
I agree. So like he was giving them science, right? He was giving them
definitely
like
giving them science.
magic powder. It's like penicillin. He was trying to advance humanity,
It was
and
great.
I guess
they
I-
rejected him.
I have a question for you guys because I don't actually remember the first season all too well. Why? How long was he with that woman? Who is his wife?
Doesn't really.
I don't know if it was super clear.
I think it was like for 10 years.
Okay,
long
so
enough
why
for
is
them to be in
Alucard
love.
30 years old? Or
He grew very fast.
He
is
grows
that,
fast,
is that all
yeah.
it is? He
They-
just
I
grew
I think they
fast?
mentioned that in
So
one
how
like,
old
little
is
toss-off
Alucard?
line.
I don't know.
Not that old.
Is he like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old? No, because they show him as a kid at some point in like a little mini flashback.
Dan, are we spoiling who Alucard is?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay, all right, yeah.
real quick, I say watch the shit out of this.
It's great.
I really
Yeah, no,
enjoyed
it's
it. You can
super
do
great.
it from home. The payoff is worth it.
The payoff is awesome. Yeah.
Anybody else? Like,
And if-
real quick, just say if you would see it or not, and then we could just jump
Yeah,
in.
watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers.
I think you should totally watch it.
Yeah.
I think it's totally worth your time. Each episode's, 25 minutes?
Yeah,
yeah,
considering
nothing.
most people have a Netflix account in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and
people
if
might
you're-
have already watched the first season and know that Dracula or Alucard is Dracula's son, anyways.
Yeah,
No, that's
and
true.
I
Yeah.
guess also Alucard has been different. I was reading more about it. There are different, I guess, Castlevania timelines
There.
Oh, yeah,
where
there's a bunch.
Alucard is someone else or a different character. In this one, Alucard is Dracula's son.
Dracula's son, yeah.
I'm gonna blow you guys' fucking
Yeah.
brains. You know this? Alucard is Dracula backwards.
I was the one who told you that.
What?
And that's from Helsing.
I know.
The anime Helsing.
Yeah,
I don't think you're spoiling anything by saying he's
Yeah.
his son. That's almost common knowledge of the
Alucard is
character
Dracula's son.
outside
Yeah.
of Castlevania.
Yeah, or Helsing. I
And
don't
it
know.
looks like Symphony of the Night Dracula. Or not Dracula, Alucard.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything. So here's the thing. I played, obviously, the original Castlevania game, but I don't know anything about the lore of
No, me
Castlevania.
neither, really.
I really-
I played a little bit of several
Yeah,
of them.
there's a few YouTube videos you can watch of just like different alternate timelines, and I sent an article to. I meant to send to you, Jacob. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on the
Oopsie.
podcast today.
That's
but I sent it to
I
you.
got it.
Yeah. It's a really good Kotaku interview that they did with the executive producer. I'm gonna butcher his name.
Adi Shankar.
Adi
Oh, I was
Shankar.
reading that anyways.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it
okay,
all worked out.
But sort of
Doing
how
research.
he approached the series as like their cinematic universe. The best comparison he can make, which is pretty correct, is Marvel. He's like, there's the Marvel universe, the comics universe, there's the Ultimate Universe, and there's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is our Castlevania, Netflix universe or
They're kind
whatever.
of just
So-
grabbing whatever they want,
Yes.
lore-wise,
Yeah.
from all over the franchise.
There's been a lot of different Castlevania games.
Like 20-something.
Yeah,
games.
Holy shit, really?
Most recently being, I want to say, the Lords of Shadow.
2.
The two games that came out where
Man.
that was actually that first game's got a pretty fun little ending. If you don't know what it is, I can spoil it later, but
Do it.
I'll do it afterwards
Okay.
because I think we'll move past the spoilers. Right?
Okay.
Is that how it works?
Sure.
Fuck it, I'll do
Yeah,
it now.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Warning,
I think we're
spoiler
already
for a
there.
game that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, there you go.
So in that game, you play as, I forget which Belmont, but you play as a Belmont. It's like one of the first ones. Dracula's not even in the game. Like that, the first half, the main bad guy is basically Satan.
Oh,
Cool.
Like it's
That's
all
cool.
it's a pretty simple storyline. A little, I don't know. It's a fun little storyline, but by the end, you're sort of betrayed, and you basically kind of kill Satan, or you send Satan back to hell, and your character basically drinks the blood and they're vampire, and then you become Dracula at the end.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a Belmont who becomes Dracula.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
That's
cool.
a fun
That's
little twist.
really,
And I don't know
really
how the
rad.
second game was because I never played it.
Yeah, I was reading that this show, it's a lot of stuff from Castlevania 3.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's a lot of stuff with Hector and Isaac, which is from
Those are the two
Curse
human generals of Dracula.
Yes, yes. Curse of Darkness. Also, Isaac, how he looks in the games is totally nuts. He's like this demon BDSM guy.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's not... every time that actor's name popped up, the voice of Isaac, I would try to read it, but it would go way too fast.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
There's the voice actor for Isaac.
Go away too
Yeah.
fast? What's he
This
talking
dude?
about?
Is very... Yeah, there he is. No, there's Hector. That's
I don't know.
Isaac.
What were you
Whoa.
watching?
Yeah, look up the voice actor for Isaac.
Jacob's ignoring
You'll
me.
see.
Do
This is
you not
what
know-
I mean.
You don't know how to use IMDb?
Yeah, just go to IMDb, man.
Yeah.
I was trying to show a picture.
It's like a weird name. It's a long name.
Why are you high?
This dude.
There it is.
I'm not saying that.
I'm really concerned about Jacob because
Yeah.
I don't know that he is he closing the window as soon as he opens it, or I don't know.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, so I thought it was cool because I didn't know anything about Castlevania and it didn't matter. I watched season 1 and 2 and it was great. Like I didn't need any explaining or whatever.
Last thing I played was, I want to say, Symphony of the Night, and I never even finished it. I played it like on a PSP, PS1 emulator or something like that, and I was like, I thought Alucard was a cool character. I thought it was like, oh, cool, you're actually playing as Son of Dracula. That's fun.
Yeah, it was like all the things that anybody who may have touched Castlevania once would be like, oh, that's a thing I know.
Yeah,
Alucard,
I knew
that's a
what the
thing.
Belmonts were. I knew
Yeah.
they were the good guys.
No, so what I remember is not in this from Castlevania 3 was turning into a pirate when I was like 6 years old, and you turned into that dude and walked up walls. His name was Grant. I don't know. This is the one guy they left out of.
Oh,
This
that's what that was in the
Castlevania.
article
Yeah.
that Adam sent us. They were asking about Grant.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
He was the little guy
care.
you could walk up walls and stuff. He looked like a pirate.
No idea.
No
when, I
idea.
was 6, it blew my mind.
I'm one of those people who just passively know some things about
Yeah,
Castlevania. And I'm actually, it's weird, I'm more interested in it now that I've watched both seasons of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I kind of want to do like a little bit of a lore deep dive just because they are making a third season, correct?
Oh yeah,
10 episodes.
already ordered.
Already ordered, huh?
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
it's happening.
That's really good.
I will say, I think this season could have probably been 5 episodes.
it absolutely could.
and would have been fine.
100%. There are 3 episodes where they are in a library, literally doing nothing. They don't even really discover anything new other than maybe a new weapon.
It's just building.
I mean, they're cute little small character moments. It's like those 3
They are. They're-
bonding.
Yeah,
but it
they
didn't need to be 3
we did
episodes.
not
you're
need
right.
that.
I think they needed another little adventure because they essentially
did.
got to
If-
Belmont's vault like in episode 3. I
Yeah,
think
and
it was.
stayed there.
Yeah.
They needed to do a little something else before getting there. I think.
Over the next couple episodes, it would do all this like vampire intrigue, Game of Thrones stuff, and then it would cut back to the gang, and they're just like sitting there, and
Not in a hurry at
and
all.
they're just like, what were they doing last episode? what are they trying
the
to
pacing
figure out?
did feel a little off.
Well,
Yeah.
the Game of Thrones vampire intrigue, I got after the first episode. The next 2 episodes where they keep saying the same thing over and over to each other, I'm like, all right, I understand. There's infighting in Dracula's court. Whatever, I don't care.
Well, they set up pretty early on with Camilla.
Well,
Carmilla.
Carmilla, yeah.
It is Camilla in most vampire mythology, but
Oh.
they call her
But when
Carmilla.
she shows up and Dracula's like, I summoned you long ago. Where were you? And then she's like, I was busy. I'm like, oh, she's gonna betray him.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And even Dracula's like, whatever. Like,
Well,
even
Dracula doesn't care. He's gone mad.
Well, yeah, he's
emo,
given
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
He did go. He is super emo in this.
Yeah.
He's just
Which
sad
makes
boy.
total sense.
It makes total sense.
Dracula should be the original emo.
But
Yeah.
I thought that was cool that he has this war against humanity, and then it kind of slowly reveals that that's almost his method of suicide.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
he knows it's going to end up with him dying, and he wants that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a
He wants
pretty
to
neat
take
way.
as many people with him as possible.
Yeah, like his vampire folks are constantly bothering him. But like, what? There's got to be some practical way to do this. We're just kind of willy nilly just killing humans, but we got to figure out like a organized way to do this. He's just like, nah, whatever. I
Well,
want to go to my room.
I guess that was another issue I had with it. They kept talking about how badly the war was going, but never ever once showed you
They
that
never showed
war.
it. You're right. You're
Or
absolutely right.
how it was going badly. You're just assuming it is because they say that.
They were trying to save money on animation.
There,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's actually why I really liked season 1 of Castlevania because it was only 4 episodes, and I was like, "Wow, a whole season in 4 episodes? They can't possibly." And I watched it. And I was like, "They did it, great!" And then when I got 8 episodes, I was like, "Oh, sweet, 8 episodes." They didn't need 8 episodes.
No.
They probably needed, like Adam
6?
said, 5. Yeah. 5 would have done it.
So also my understanding is this was originally a single movie. They were trying to make an anime Castlevania film.
Interesting.
And then it kind of went into development hell for a
Yeah.
few years until Netflix started buying, absolutely everything in the world. And I guess that makes, if you take the first and second seasons of this show, cut out the fluff, you've got a pretty fucking cool movie,
Yep.
right?
Feels like it.
Like the whole first season is just like the first act of this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, here are the characters. It's over.
Yeah, it was. I still thought the payoff was totally worth it.
Oh, yes.
So once you get to the actual combat, I was like a kid in a candy store watching all the really cool shit that each character can do, Sypha, Trevor, and Alucard. And I was like, man, maybe I'm just a nerd? Like, I was like, is this really not cool? I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I was curious. It seemed like everybody else thought it was cool too.
Can we hang on that for just a second?
yeah.
Because I need to talk to you guys about an issue that's out there, generally affecting guys our age, actually.
Yeah.
Did you know that 66% of men age 35 experience hair loss?
I do now.
not.
Thank you, Dan.
Now you know.
I have yet to find out.
I've got a little bit of a receding hairline myself.
You don't.
It's coming.
I'm the one that's got it.
No, it's backing up, moving backwards, and I don't know. It's complex emotionally, I think. Hair loss is a real problem for men my age. I see my own hairline slowly moving backwards and it scares me a bit. Do you want your hairline to recede or do you want to do something about it first? This problem has a solution. forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you to real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. These are well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you save your hair. This isn't snake oil. These aren't rhino horns or shark fins. They are prescription solutions backed by science. The process is super simple. You answer a few questions, which a real doctor will then review and then finalize your prescription. The products are then shipped right to your door. Filmhouse listeners can get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today, right now while supplies last. See their website for full details on that offer. This would cost you hundreds of dollars if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. So go to forhims.com/filmhouse. That's forhims.com/filmhouse. forhims.com/filmhouse. And you can get a free trial month for $5. So check them out, and thank you again, Hims, for sponsoring this podcast.
So we can talk about anime and why we have strong feelings about it.
Vampire animes. But so I guess maybe a lot of us agree that, some of the show's slow, but holy fuck, when they fight Dracula, and even the episode before that, when Belmont's defending the vault,
Yes, some monsters.
it is ridiculously cool.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. I thought some of the really unique stuff that I didn't expect were the creatures. Each creature's design that he fights.
Yeah, they were all different. They weren't
all
minions.
different, all a little bit like kind of weird things that you've seen, but also not seen. And that was really, really cool.
Yeah, those dudes they fight in the snow. The guy that picks up his little bird friend and just carries him
throws
around.
him.
Yeah, I think that's a boss. Is that from Symphony of the Night? I think that's from Symphony of the Night.
I don't remember.
Where there's a flying dude who picks up the bird guy and just
Super
drops him on
compelling.
top of you.
Very, very compelling.
Anytime they animate that whip, it's like the
God.
coolest
The Morning
thing.
Star.
Yeah,
That was so
that's
rad.
that too. That too.
It took me a little bit to get used to, but at first I thought the fighting was really slow, and are still some parts that bother me where, like, a vampire would just be standing there waiting to get killed, or I was hoping they'd move a little faster than that. But I actually really appreciated the animation style where it almost felt like mocapped or something like that, or or what do you call it, rotoscoped?
Rotoscope.
But not as crappy. It. When they're in the part we're talking about, when they're in the Belmont library and Trevor's got he takes that one dude's stick and it's broken in 2 pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And he's slowly turning. It looks like a lot of care was put into that, where they could have just got away with it, just doing it super fast, super close up, and a bunch of flashes, but they actually put time into show how cool he looks
Yeah, they really
doing
did.
this stuff, and then all the whip chain parts were freaking awesome.
Everything
It
had
was-
weight to it.
Yeah.
It had realistic weight to it. The way everything moved.
When the Morning Star started exploding people's heads.
That was
I
rad.
don't know, that was,
Yeah.
It was such a video game moment,
Yeah, it's
too,
a
when he
video
kicks
game
open the
thing.
chest and he's like, oh, it's my family's ancient weapon. It seems cheesy, but it is, it comes from a Nintendo game. So
I don't know, it's still really cool. That was the one thing I thought they kind of fudged a little bit was the Morning Star. They would always show like chain everywhere.
Oh yeah,
but and
sometimes it was super long,
and other times it was short. But that's okay. Trevor Belmont comes from a long line of monster fighting experts, so I was okay with that. Like I understood that, and it made sense to me.
But yeah, so when they're like charging in the castle, you were talking about they all have kind of their own individual moves.
They do.
And the stuff he did with the whip was so fun.
That's
like
rad.
just different, very creative fights. They're not just like clanging swords against each other. They're doing moves.
Like Sypha makes a bunch of those little ice needles. It's like in anything else, she would just like shoot those at people, but she was using them to like block sword swings. And when she made that like sheet of ice, she like brought up a spike
Cuts it in half.
and then like made it go forward. And this like paper thin sheet of ice was the coolest thing ever. And I never would have expected it.
One of the biggest compliments I can just give the show is that aesthetically, it's very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
The way Dracula's castle is done, the way just the intro is created, the character design. I like the way everything looks.
Yeah. Despite being like a very dark show, everything's like super vibrant. Anytime there's warm colors, like whenever they're in the like the Belmont Library, it just like looks gorgeous and stuff.
It was really nice. I thought another cool mechanic was the castle moving.
Oh my god,
that was something that I didn't expect because I didn't know. I guess it's from is it from the video game?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think
idea.
that's a new thing.
It was really fucking.
So when
cool.
Sypha was pulling the castle to them,
Well, even before that, when he was like, "Yeah, we'll just move the castle there," and then he teleports it, I was like, "Holy shit! I didn't know he could do that. That's rad!" And it was just really cool the way it was all done and the way Dracula moved it. It was really neat.
I love it during that struggle. Yeah, she's trying to pull it nearby, and it's like just
Flashing
destroying
in
that
and out.
town.
Yeah.
and
just
like nuking the
that
town
yeah.
every time it moves.
And then Carmilla had like the response that I did. She was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very direct and pretty funny.
And I think the series, at least this season, borrowed, I think you made a really good comparison there earlier, is the Game of Thrones analogy, because it did feel like a Game of Thrones season where the second to last episode is the most action-oriented. It was the boss fight.
Right.
Yeah.
They show Dracula how powerful he is, and then they did this last episode that's like an epilogue, and is setting it up. Because my thought was, I guess, are we doing spoilers now?
Yeah.
After they kill Dracula and he's gone, I assume show's over. We're done here. But they did enough things where they set up, 3 villains?
There's a bunch.
Yeah. There's enough going on that it could continue and still be interesting.
Because you got Carmilla, and she had the one human, and then
Hector.
Yeah.
and then
Hector.
Isaac.
And then Isaac is
who
off
was
somewhere
creating
else.
Isaac and his
creating
belt.
undead army.
So did I get this wrong? Every creature that you saw like come and attack the Avengers, the Dracula Avengers, basically they were created by Isaac, and he would take a dead man and then turn them into a creature.
That's
right?
the way I understood
That's
it.
because that's at the end of it. I was like, that was sort of a reveal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening.
Those
They're
were
like
the
demon
creatures.
forge
He's
masters.
a forge, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the rest of them were just vampires.
Right.
I
Yeah,
wanna bring
can
up
we talk about
Godbeard
Godbrand?
real quick.
Godbrand.
Godbrand,
Yeah,
excuse
Peter
me.
Stormare is great.
Oh my
So
goodness.
good.
He nailed it.
The accent threw me when he first started talking, but boy, oh boy, like 2 minutes later, I just loved him.
Nailed it. I was actually really sad he died early.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I was really sad about that. He was great.
I'm always.
Scene.
It's almost the voice acting overall on the show. I feel like it's almost like a guilty pleasure
Yeah.
because I'm like, should I be hating this? Because I enjoy it. It's goofy at times, but I know a lot of the actors are like from The Hobbit.
Richard Armitage,
and I'm actually a big James Callis fan. He played Baltar in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
he's
whoa.
the voice of Alucard.
That's right.
Doesn't sound anything like Baltar from the show.
No,
so
he doesn't. You're right.
I was trying to tell Jess that where I'm like, yeah, did you know Gaius is on the show? She's like, where is he? I'm like, he's that guy. Doesn't sound like him. Gotcha.
Doesn't sound like him at all.
Because everybody is whispering when
Yeah.
they talk like this.
Well, Alucard is.
Yeah.
He's
Alucard-
brooding.
Everyone, yeah. And then I guess also the other compliment was I thought the ending was emotionally
Oh my
satisfying.
goodness.
It was.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of it as the Martha moment in BVS and Batman vs Superman.
How that didn't work.
How that didn't work. This totally worked.
Yeah.
When they I don't know if it was Alucard's plan to lure Dracula into his room.
It didn't seem like it.
But
just kind of throwing
I don't.
around.
That emotional moment totally hits, and he goes from raging monster to sad dad.
It's because they planted all those seeds throughout the series that humanize, ironically humanize Dracula and stuff. So there's this moment where he it becomes his weakness that he has these human attachments and stuff. And I thought they did that really well. Even the very end, that last shot where Alucard just
He's crying.
he just burst into tears.
Yeah, that was cool.
And stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was
really
great animation and great voice acting that brought those characters alive in a way that I was not expecting that. And I was emotionally invested when you literally see the bloodlust come out of Dracula's
His
eyes.
eyes,
Yeah. They
And
turn
he-
from red to normal.
Yeah, and he breaks down and realizes that he's fighting and trying to kill his son, the one attachment to the one thing that he ever loved.
Yeah. The greatest gift that his wife ever gave him.
Yeah.
I still wasn't fully bought in as much as you guys were. It sounds like there was that it hit me, but it didn't hit me enough. It was kind of like I thought the voice acting was like he was like fighting, super angry, and all of a sudden he was like, "I'm in my son's room," and I was like, "Okay, all right, fine." And you're right; it definitely hit better than Martha. that 100%.
A similar moment, right?
A very, very similar moment, but it hit better because you had more background on Dracula.
I thought it was a better ending than them being like, we have better weapons than him.
Absolutely, you're right.
You know,
Yes, you're correct.
Like it actually felt like it had weight.
No,
in
it's a
it.
good way to end it.
Yeah, I thought it was better than just you hit the boss more times than he hit you,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you win.
And they made it seem challenging. Like they were
Oh,
they were not beating Dracula for a long
Yeah.
time.
It
He
was-
was whipping their ass.
And he was also
Great
weakened.
portrayal of like the final boss thing. It's
Yeah.
like they start attacking him, it does nothing, and they come up with weird little ways to chip away at him.
Yeah.
Like just like stopping him, just shooting fire at his face for a few seconds. He doesn't seem to like that very much.
Yeah, it was I guess like that's a good example of sort of adapting a video game boss battle. Goro versus Johnny Cage when he
Doesn't he just throw him off a cliff?
well, he does the splits and he punches him in the nuts.
That's right.
Not a good adaptation of a boss fight in a video game. Or how does he defeat Shang Tsung? I don't know. I think he does a fireball.
I don't remember how.
Don't remember
he
the
does.
movie at
He
all.
does do a fireball.
Or that's the Street Fighter movie where he also does a fireball.
Yeah. No, you're right. This Dracula fight was like. I think one of the coolest parts in that fight was when he creates that giant ball of fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He sends it down the hallway, and then basically like they all have to stop it with their own. Sypha has to stop with her powers, and Alucard has to stop with his sword.
He pushes his back up to her
Yeah.
to keep her from...
That was really cool.
They were teaming up.
Also, when they finally launch it back at Dracula, it bores a hole in the castle.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, that thing was really hot and also really, really powerful. They do a really good job of showing you how each power is so strong and how they counter it.
If you're able to watch this with like a good sound system or something, every time, like when Alucard and Dracula are fighting each other,
Oh, the
there's
punches?
yeah,
Yeah.
whenever Dracula punches back, it's like way bassier and way louder.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
That was maybe one of my only issues from the sound design part. A lot of times I felt like the music wasn't matching the action.
yeah.
That was a few times where like I feel like the music should be hitting a little harder.
I would agree. I would agree.
But that I mean it's a minor complaint.
No, it is.
And
It is. But I totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah,
The music
there's-
wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
The one music moment I really remember loving was they're like rising out of the vault super slow into the
Yeah.
red moon. And
yeah.
like they know they're like marching off to their possible death. Whatever song was played, was it like
yeah,
a cover?
when they go into the castle and start fighting all those vampires, and it's awesome. I wish the music was louder because it was like this orchestral version of just like the Castlevania 2 menu music.
Oh.
And it was awesome. Like,
Okay.
but I can still barely hear it. I'm like, I wish this were louder. This is such a great scene.
maybe
The music is
that
awesome.
might be Netflix's whatever mix. I don't know. Maybe you need like to watch it on Blu-ray or something.
Yeah.
If it'll ever happen. But anyway,
Ugh.
I don't know. And I guess final verdict. Ended up liking the show way more than I thought I would.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I guess it's better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, it
It's
gets a little
totally
slow in
worth
the
your
middle.
time. It gets-
Stick with it.
Gets a little slow. Having just watched Attack on Titan, it was very, very similar. Where there's like 7 episodes of nothing.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. actually.
but Attack on Titan, I thought did the political intrigue way better.
Oh.
And that's maybe because it's in its 3rd season, whereas Castlevania is only in its 2nd after a few episodes. But still totally worth your time. They're 22 minutes. You get through them so fast.
I was gonna say Attack on Titan's also on like what episode 52.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're so far ahead.
Yeah.
So the political intrigue I care about more. So I still think it's totally worth your time.
Yeah.
I guess that was the weak part, was essentially maybe what they're using to set up future seasons of the show. It's
Yeah.
essentially Carmilla. Like, her
Yeah.
character is interesting, but everything she was doing just
Has
slowed
no-
the whole
yeah.
show down to...
It doesn't have any immediate consequences in
Yeah.
this season. She's just like
Well, it does.
making her plans.
It does when they betray the vampire army.
Oh, that's
and
true.
They
Yeah.
They drag them all into the water.
They got
Holy water.
They got someone who, I guess the less what is it? Fucking loyal human. Was it? What's his
Hector?
name?
Hector.
Was it Hector? Yeah.
Yeah.
She basically got him to look bad. That was sort of a weird sort of moment where she's like tricked ya, and he was like, oh. Yeah.
Didn't see that one
Yeah.
coming.
Because even I was like, what just happened?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did she
What
fuck
about
him?
my
I mean, I knew
demon
she was going to
punks?
betray him. She said so in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, real quick, the writer of the show, Warren Ellis, is an amazing writer. I think that's maybe why the show is fun where it is. Check out some of his work because I do love him. Comic Book Planetary, Authority, both really wonderful things. Check them out. Do some reading.
I've heard the name. I'm not familiar with his works.
Yeah.
Authority kind of redefined the superhero comic genre a little bit. It made everything what they call widescreen. They called it or dubbed it widescreen comics. Essentially, maybe what the Avengers, the movie, is really based on. It's kind of that time period.
I'll check it out, Dan.
I like Warren. The Adi Shankar guy, I get weird vibes from him just because of the crow makeup.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I don't know.
I mean, it's
I don't know. I've met him.
Yeah, we met him in crow makeup.
Yeah, we did.
He wears that out everywhere?
No, I think he. So, I would like. I'm sure he's addressed it somewhere. It's kind of smart because he sort of created like a brand for himself. Yeah. I guess he's always wearing that jacket and he wears makeup and it makes people stop and go, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
Also, the dude is 33 years old and is producing pretty cool content. As far as I know, he worked on the Dread remake.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing movie, and I guess he got Power Rangers going, which people seem to like.
Well, that's part of his bootleg universe where he makes short films on things he doesn't own.
Yeah, and then got Castlevania off the ground and is apparently a huge fan of it. That's sort of thing that I guess which is important. He's our age.
It seemed he was a big fan of it in that article.
Yeah,
So.
it's really cool. This is the sort of thing I was hoping for when people started adapting stuff from video games, that the people at the head of it would be the biggest nerd of that thing. So if and when they were going to adapt a Halo novel or a Halo thing into a movie, the people making it knew things about Halo. As opposed to being like, I don't know, he's in a green suit or something. But it seems like Adi actually
He cares.
He actually understands why Castlevania is important and how it should be adapted into a series, and it shouldn't just be one for one. So I think he did. I don't know how much of a hand he has as an executive producer, but he seems to guided the ship pretty well.
Yeah, he put the pieces together.
Yeah, it seems really evident just watching it that whatever hands were crafting this really cared about Castlevania and wanted it to be portrayed in a really cool way.
Yeah, I think he did a great job.
So I think he's spun the success of this show further. I think he's at least trying to get a Legend of Zelda show going.
Really?
Oh, that's right.
And has most likely got an Assassin's Creed show going. Probably all anime, I think.
Other tough nuts to crack there.
Really hard.
I don't know. Once again, it's the it's that Pandora's box everyone keeps trying to open.
The video games.
They're like, how do we make video games into good movies? And I've been saying for years, you don't. Video games are a very personal experience. But if you read that article from Kotaku, he actually hits on that point where he said it's about the personal experience that you have with a video game that makes it important, not the graphics, not this, not that. But so it's like if you can hit on those touchstones that people resonate with, you can get a good adaptation. So who knows?
He's got a really good read on it from watching Castlevania.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely give him another shot if he's doing a Zelda thing or whatever.
So is Castlevania the best video game adaptation that we have so far?
Oh man.
I mean,
I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
There's Tomb Raiders, Resident Evil.
What else is there?
Warcraft was all right.
No, it wasn't.
No, I liked it.
Half of Warcraft was okay.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
This is probably. I mean, like having never very rarely played Castlevania. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Silent Hill, not that great. Story makes no fucking sense. It had a pyramid head in it. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. I think I've seen every video game adaptation of a.
I've been trying to. Max Payne.
I've never seen Max Payne.
Forgot about Max
It's garbage. It's terrible.
If you want to see a good Max Payne movie, watch John Wick.
There you go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They're making movies kind of with the ideas that video games have and like the soul that they have, but they're not based on games.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite video game movie is probably Scott Pilgrim Saves the World, which is a
There's
comic
a good
book
one.
adaptation.
But it has video games in its soul.
It has a lot of allusions and references to video games that it shows that the people making it actually get what video games are.
Well, it was a comic book trying to be a video game.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I loved it. Check it out. I think you all agree too, even though it's got some issues.
Worth a watch.
It's not perfect. It's definitely
worth a watch.
Especially if you already pay for Netflix.
Why not?
Yeah, most people go ahead and say like, yeah, it's free. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, you'll get.
That's not how it works, but
It's one of those ones you get through pretty fast too.
Yeah.
I got through most of it in a night.
Yeah.
Symphony of the
Nice.
this podcast.
Right on. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody's brain is different. Everybody's going to value certain aspects of a film over others. To some people, you can completely ignore all aspects of the filmmaking as long as it's a story or theme that connects with you personally, and that's everybody's going to have a different experience sort of thing. So
I feel